I have a secret to share with you. You are about to learn something new. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Skooled University. I'm Mowgli, and in this week's episode, we're going to break down the basic architecture of the brain. Hold out your hands like this. Go ahead, I'll wait. What do you think you can fit in there? A cup of water? A few ounces of dirt? But what about a supercomputer that can solve complicated math? Or better yet, figure out the dimensions of space? What if I told you that you could hold the most powerful organic machine man has ever known in the palm of your hands, and it only takes 20 watts of power, the same amount of electricity a freaking light bulb uses? Would you believe me? Well, believe it. Weighing in at 3 pounds, 2 ounces, hailing from the universe that is your body, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your brain. When you look at a brain, the first thing you see is the outer spongy-like area with grooves going in what seems like chaotic directions. This is called the cortex, which is comprised of folded gray matter. And folded gray matter sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. Gray matter is the darker tissue of the brain and spinal cord, consisting mainly of nerve cell bodies, and surrounds regions of the brain involved in muscle control and sensory perception, such as seeing, hearing, memory, emotions, speech, decision-making, self-control, and plays a vital role in your consciousness. And did you know that there are actually two hemispheres of the brain separated by a groove right down the middle right here? The two halves work separately but together, and check this out. The left side of the brain controls the right side of the body while handling most of the duties when it comes to speaking and mathematical equations. So when you need to retrieve a memory, your left side is where you pull it from. Just like that. The right side of the brain is in charge of face recognition, processing music, and visual imagery so we can make sense of what we see. Along with that, the right side of the brain controls the left side of your body. So when you wink your left eye, that is triggered by the right side of your brain. I mean, that just blows my mind. You then have the frontal lobe, which is in the front of the brain. This area carries most of your dopamine-sensitive neurons, and I don't want to get too scientific on you guys here. So, basically, your dopamine system is associated with short-term memory tasks, planning, motivation, along with the feelings of reward and attention. So when your teacher hands you that gold star, your frontal lobe is responsible for that great feeling you just rightfully earned. I mean, how cool is that? I digress. The parietal lobe. This is in the middle top part of your brain, behind the frontal lobe and above the temporal lobe. In this part of the brain, sensory information is processed, such as navigation and spatial sense. This allows the human body to enjoy the wonderful experience of burning your hand on a stove, or, on a lighter note, a hug from your mom or dad. The parietal lobe is where information such as taste, temperature, and touch are integrated and processed. Humans would not be able to feel sensation of touch if the parietal lobe was damaged. This part of the brain also processes pain and just about any other sensory feeling you can think of. Also, and this blows my mind, several areas of the parietal lobe are crucial to language processing. So the next time you can't hear someone or understand them, just say, "Sorry, my parietal lobe is acting up again." Sorry, dude. All right, moving on to the temporal lobe, which is in the middle bottom part of the brain, okay? Middle bottom part of the brain. The temporal lobe has a ton on its plate. First, it is responsible for processing sensory input into something meaningful that the brain can process, like visual memory and emotion association, or, in other words, the meaning of emotions and language comprehension. Here's a fun fact for you guys, especially all the little kiddies out there. The more languages you know, the less likely you are to suffer from Alzheimer's disease when you get older. And most importantly, this area contains structures of the brain vital for long-term memory. So be nice to it and take care of your brain, or you won't remember me in 5 years, and that wouldn't be good. Or would it? All the way to the back of the brain, you will find the occipital lobe, occipital lobe, occipital lobe. It's funny, this is at the back of your head, considering it is the visual processing center of the brain. I mean, why so far from the eyes, bro? Anyway, this area is specialized for different visual tasks like visual spatial processing. Oh, what is that? I know the name is a bit intense, but check this out. Visuospatial processing allows us to visually perceive objects and the spatial relationships among objects like a square, triangle, cube, or pyramid. And wait for it, the occipital lobe also makes it possible for you to tell the difference between colors such as red and green. Ah, now the cerebellum. Sometimes this tricky little guy gives off the appearance that it is actually separated from the brain, but do not be fooled, Skooled University. It is attached at the bottom part of the brain, and oh, it is so important. The cerebellum is involved in some cognitive functions, such as attention, language, and regulating fear and pleasure responses. But, where the cerebellum really earns its money is your motor control. And this is where it gets a little tricky. The cerebellum never actually initiates any movement whatsoever. What it does do is contribute to coordination, precision, and accurate timing. Amazingly, it does this by receiving input from sensory systems of the spinal cord and from other parts of the brain and integrates these inputs to fine-tune your motor activity. In addition to its direct role in motor control, the cerebellum is necessary for several types of motor learning, most notably learning to adjust to changes in your environment physically. And finally, your brain would be absolutely useless if it weren't for this bad boy right here. Cue the dramatic music. The brainstem! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if it weren't for this extremely underrated part of the brain, you wouldn't receive, process, see, and feel anything that I've just described to you. You would be a lifeless pile of carbon waiting for the right connection. And what would that connection be, kiddos? The almighty brainstem. The brainstem provides the main motor and sensory innervation to the face and neck through cranial nerves, and I'll get back to innervation in just 1 second. Of 12 pairs in the body, 10 of them are from the brainstem. I mean, like, what? By the way, innervation means to supply an organ or body part with nerves. Thank you, Google. This is an extremely important part of the brain as the nerve connections of the motor and sensory systems from the main part of the brain to the rest of the body pass through the brainstem. Sensories associated with the brainstem is vibration sensation, fine touch, temperature, itching, and the one that always reminds you that you're alive, pain. Along with that, the brainstem also plays a vital role in the regulation of cardiac and respiratory functions, as well as regulating the nervous system, and is crucial in maintaining consciousness and regulating your sleep cycle. And your brainstem also helps function your heart rate, breathing, and what you eat. That, my friends, is the basic architecture of the brain. If you'd like to learn more about the brain or have any questions about this video, leave a comment. I'll make sure to reply quickly. Or I may even do a video based on a suggestion or question. And make sure to check back every week for a brand new video exploring the wonders of our universe. And please, don't forget to subscribe.